A very good morning to all. It is an honor to be here today as the anchor for this event. I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of our honorable judges of High Court at Calcutta, other esteemed dignitaries and distinguished guests who have gathered here today. Your presence makes this event even more special. In the words of the father of our nation, the true measure of any society can be found in how it treats its most vulnerable members. The children with disabilities have the same dreams, hopes, and aspirations as any other child, but they face unique challenges that prevent them from reaching their full potential. They face barriers in education, healthcare, and social participation, and are often stigmatized and marginalized, but it definitely shouldn't be this way. And accordingly, today the Juvenile Justice Committee, High Court at Calcutta, in collaboration with Department of Women and Child Development and Social Welfare, Government of West Bengal, and UNICEF, has given us the opportunity to gather here at the state-level multi-stakeholders consultation on the protection of children with disabilities 2024 in West Bengal and Andaman and Nicobar Islands to delve deep into the issues of children with disabilities and to celebrate their presence, nurture their development, and protect their well-being. May I now have the privilege to request the Honorable Mr. Justice T.S. SIVAGNANAM, the Honorable Chief Justice, High Court at Calcutta, and the Honorable Patron-in-Chief, Juvenile Justice Committee, High Court at Calcutta, to grace the dais, and I request the learned Registrar General, High Court at Calcutta, Srimati Choitali Chatterjee Das, to usher His Lordship. I would now request the Honorable Mr. Justice Harish Tandon, Honorable Judge, High Court at Calcutta, and Honorable Member, Juvenile Justice Committee, High Court at Calcutta, to kindly adorn the dais. I request learned Registrar Inspection, High Court at Calcutta, Sri Abhijit Shom, to usher His Lordship. Now I request the Honorable Mr. Justice Soumen Sen, Honorable Judge, High Court at Calcutta, and Honorable Member, Juvenile Justice Committee, High Court at Calcutta, to adorn the dais. I request the learned Registrar Protocol, High Court at Calcutta, Sri Lokesh Pathak, to usher His Lordship. I now welcome the presence of the Principal Secretary, Women and Child Development and Social Welfare, Government of West Bengal, Srimati Sanghamitra Ghosh, IAS, on the dais, and request Srimati Nilanjana Dasgupta, Director of Child Rights and Trafficking, to usher her. I will also welcome the presence of Dr. Manzoor Hossain, Chief UNICEF West Bengal Office, on the dais, and request Srimati Paramita Niyogi of UNICEF to usher him. Unfortunately, Dr. Shoshi Paja, Honorable Minister in Charge, Women and Development and Social Welfare, could not attend the event due to her sudden personal engagement. It is also our misfortune that we could not have among us Honorable Mr. Justice I.P. Mukherjee, Honorable Judge, High Court at Calcutta, and Honorable Chairperson, Juvenile Justice Committee, High Court at Calcutta, due to Lordship's ill health. His Lordship has been the guiding star for organizing this event. Now it's time to felicitate our esteemed dignitaries on stage with potted plants. And for the same, I would request Srimati Indrila Mukhopadhyay, learned Additional District and Sessions Judge, Poxo Court, City Sessions Court, Kolkata, to greet Honorable Mr. Justice T.S. SIVAGNANAM, Honorable Chief Justice, High Court at Calcutta, with the potted plant. I would request Srimati Mou Ghatak Mojumdar, Secretary, District Legal Services Authority, Kolkata, to greet Honorable Mr. Justice Harish Tandon with the potted plant. I now request Srimati Sutopa Mollik, Secretary, District Legal Services Authority, Purbo Bardhaman, to felicitate our Honorable Mr. Justice Soumen Sen, Honorable Judge, High Court at Calcutta, with the potted plant. I request Srimati Dibbashri Das, Principal Magistrate, North 24 Parganas, Juvenile Justice Board, North 24 Parganas, to greet Srimati Sanghamitra Ghosh, Principal Secretary, Women and Child Development and Social Welfare, with the potted plant. I request Srimati Fatma, Principal Magistrate, Juvenile Justice Board, Howrah, to greet Dr. Manzoor Hussain, Chief UNICEF West Bengal Office, with the potted plant. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for lighting of the inaugural lamp. May I humbly request the Honorable Mr. Justice T.S. SIVAGNANAM, Honorable Chief Justice, High Court at Calcutta, and all other dignitaries on stage to graciously step forward and light the inaugural lamp, thus formally pronouncing the beginning of today's event. And thereafter, I request the honorable dignitaries to water a plant. May the light of this lamp illuminate our minds and open our hearts to compassion and empathy towards these special children. I would request the dignitaries to kindly water the plant. Children are like seeds. All we have to do is water them with affection, fertilize them with values, and cultivate them with lots of love. Let's nurture them like plants so that they become shade for tomorrow. I now request Dr. Momita Bhattacharya, Secretary, Juvenile Justice Secretariat, to deliver the welcome address.
Good morning, esteemed dignitaries and participants of this program on state-level multi-stakeholders consultation on protection of children with disabilities, arranged and designed under the directions of the Honorable Juvenile Justice Committee, Supreme Court of India. It's a blissful welcome that the Juvenile Justice Secretariat brings to you this morning, filled with desires, hopes, and dreams we all share. Myself, being the Secretary of the Juvenile Justice Secretariat, heartily welcome Your Lordship, Honorable Mr. Justice T.S. SIVAGNANAM, Honorable the Chief Justice, High Court at Calcutta, and the Patron-in-Chief Juvenile Justice Committee, who is also accompanied by Madam. Your Lordship is the protector and benefactor in the development and reintegration of the children covered by the Juvenile Justice Act. Welcome, Lordship. It is my great pleasure to welcome Honorable Justice Harish Tandon, Judge, High Court at Calcutta, and Honorable Member, Juvenile Justice Committee. Your Lordship has always inspired us to develop a strong bond with the children with empathy and perseverance. Welcome, Lordship. I derive immense happiness in welcoming Honorable Mr. Justice Soumen, Judge, High Court at Calcutta, and Honorable Member, Juvenile Justice Committee. Your Lordship has been a guiding light in all our endeavors. Welcome, Lordship. I am also delighted to welcome Honorable Justice Shampa Sarkar, Judge, High Court at Calcutta, and Honorable Member, Juvenile Justice Committee. Lordship, your support and right directions have led the way forward. I extend a heartfelt welcome to all the other honorable judges of the High Court at Calcutta present here, and all the honorable judges who have joined us virtually. The Juvenile Justice Secretariat is extremely elated to have your graceful presence in the program. I welcome the Principal Secretary, Department of Women and Child Development and Social Welfare, Government of West Bengal, Ms. Shanghamrita Ghosh. Your contribution has been noteworthy. Welcome, Madam. I welcome the Chief UNICEF West Bengal Unit, Mr. Manjur Hussain. Your support has been immense. Welcome, sir. I extend a warm welcome to the learned Registrar General and all the other registrars of the High Court at Calcutta. I welcome the learned Director, Additional Director, and the learned Administrative Officers of the West Bengal Judicial Academy. I further welcome the learned Member Secretary, State Legal Services Authority, West Bengal, and the learned Additional Sessions Judges holding POCSO courts in Kolkata and Purulia. I extend a hearty welcome to the Director, Directorate of Child Rights and Trafficking, Government of West Bengal, Srimati Nilanjana Dasgupta, the Secretary, Department of Social Welfare, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Mr. L. Kumar, and other members of the Department of Social Welfare, Andaman and Nicobar Islands. I welcome Ms. Tulika Das, Chairperson, West Bengal Commission for Protection of Child Rights, and all other members of the Commission. I heartily welcome the Special Secretary, Department of Home and Health Affairs, Government of West Bengal, the Additional Secretary, Department of Health, Government of West Bengal, the Deputy Director, Child Psychologist, and all other members of the department. I welcome the learned Secretaries, District Legal Services Authorities of Kolkata, Murshidabad, Purbo Bardhaman, and Howrah. I also welcome the learned Principal Magistrates, Juvenile Justice Board, North and South 24 Parganas, Howrah, and Kolkata. I welcome the Special Secretary and Director, Department of Mass Education, West Bengal, and all other members from the department. I welcome the Child Protection Officer of UNICEF and other members from the UNICEF, members from the Panchayat and Rural Development, police officials, the chairpersons of the Child Welfare Committees, District Social Welfare Officers, counselors, superintendents of the child care institutions, members of other institutions, members from the NGO, members from the National Institute of Locomotor Disabilities, and members from the Disability Commissionerates. I welcome the Additional Secretary of the Juvenile Justice Secretariat, the staffs of the Secretariat and that of the Academy, members from the print and the electronic media. I welcome all of you. All of those who are watching this program on the virtual mode, and to all of those I have missed mentioning, a hearty welcome to all of you. I welcome each one of you to this program. It is a privilege to have you join us, and we are grateful for your presence. It is said every child is gifted and they just unwrap their packages at different times. This multi-stakeholders consultation meet is a way to have a glimpse of all those children whom we term as differently abled across the legal categories defined by the Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Act 2015, being children in need of care and protection and children in conflict with law, to know about them, to understand their requirements, their rights, their protection envisaged under the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016, as amended in 2019, and Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities in 2006, as also the implementation of schemes, services, and policies for them. Proceeding on with the program, I now request the Honorable, the Chief Justice, Honorable Mr. Justice T.S. SIVAGNANAM, to deliver the keynote address. My Lord.
Honorable Justice Harish Tandon, Judge High Court at Calcutta and member of the Juvenile Justice Committee. Honorable Justice Soumen, Judge High Court at Calcutta and member of the Juvenile Justice Committee. Honorable Justice Shampa Sarkar, Judge High Court at Calcutta and member of the Juvenile Justice Committee. Honorable Justice Ananya Bandyopadhyay, Honorable Justice Bisru Chaudhary, and Honorable Justice Rashidi, who are here with us, and the honorable judges who have joined the program virtually, the Learned Registrar General and the other Learned Registrars of the High Court of Calcutta, Member Secretary of the State Legal Services Authority, Secretary of the Juvenile Justice Secretariat and the other officers, Dr. Monjour Hussain, Chief of UNICEF West Bengal Unit, judicial officers functioning as principal magistrates of the Juvenile Justice Boards, Member Secretaries of the District Legal Services Committee, authorities, judicial officers holding POCSO courts, Learned Principal Secretary, Women and Child Development and Social Welfare Department, Government of West Bengal, and the officers of the department, the Secretary, Department of Social Welfare, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Additional Secretary and other members of the Department of Health, Government of West Bengal, Special Secretary, Home and Hill Affairs, Government of West Bengal, Special Secretary and Director, Mass Education Department, Government of West Bengal, members from the West Bengal Commission for Protection of Child Rights, members from the National Institute of Disabilities, the moderators and rapporteurs for the program, members of the print and electronic media, special invitees, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. I am thankful to the Honorable Chairman and the Honorable members of the Juvenile Justice Committee of the High Court of Calcutta for giving me this opportunity of inaugurating the state-level multi-stakeholders consultation on the protection of differently abled children in West Bengal and Andaman and Nicobar Island, being held in collaboration with the Department of Women and Child Development and Social Welfare of the Government of West Bengal and UNICEF. The objective of today's consultation is to strengthen the protection of children who are differently abled in the context of implementation of the Juvenile Justice Act and the POCSO Act. The area of focus would be children in need of care and protection and other vulnerable children, children in conflict with law, and children who have been victims of sexual violence, among others. The consultation will seek to dwell deeper into the measures undertaken or to be established at state level for differently abled children across legal categories defined under the Juvenile Justice Act, namely the children in need of care and protection and children in conflict with law. In my understanding, the aim of the conference is to review the existing schemes, services, mechanisms which are already in place, the challenges which are being faced, and to set targets through a development of an action plan based on the state and national commitments to the children who are differently abled within the juvenile justice system. In this consultation, there would be discussion and interaction on various points. Availability of services to inform judicial process for children in conflict with law, and child victim, including survivors, availability of professional functionaries and specialized and skilled workforce, availability of services for the well-being of the differently abled who are in childcare institution across the categories of children's home, observation homes, special homes, place of safety, etc., and also make available the pertinent data. I sincerely thank the organizers for undertaking such an initiative, as the issues of the children in conflict with law, child victim and survivors require more attention of the policymakers of the nation. I hope and trust that in today's deliberation, each and every aspect concerning the issue mentioned before would be discussed, and plausible solution to the issues would also be discussed. Each and every stakeholder of today's program will be tremendously benefited out of the discussion, and they would gain a lot of experience to be shared and exchanged, and would be able to implement the program, policies, and the acts brought about to bring positive change in the lives of the victims, children in conflict of law, and survivor in its true spirit. I have seen the structure of today's interaction. It is divided into 4 groups, consisting of about 20 persons in a group. So by this, therefore, my request to the honorable members of the committee was to make the inaugural program as short as possible, so that we get the maximum time, all of you get the maximum time to discuss, because the time allotted for each group is 30 minutes, and thereafter you will have to come back to this hall for a discussion. I'm definitely sure and that with the able assistance of the learned Principal Secretary as well as Dr. Hussain from UNICEF, this program will be a grand success. Once again, thank all of you for this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you, Honorable the Chief Justice, High Court at Calcutta, for your insightful thoughts, my lord. Now I request Honorable Mr. Justice Harish Tandon, Judge, High Court at Calcutta, and Honorable Member, Juvenile Justice Committee, High Court, Calcutta, to deliver the introductory address. My lord.
Good morning to all of you. It's really a great pleasure to be a part of this program. As a member of the Juvenile Justice Committee set up by the High Court, we have been tirelessly working for the betterment of the children and what the best we can provide them. And this time we had the state-level multi-stakeholders consultations focusing purely on the child with a disability and what best we can do. In my opinion, there are various laws in place. Each has its avowed object to operate for the betterment of the society and the betterment of the persons who comes under those acts. How to make a synergy between the two acts is one of the, in my opinion, is a humongous task, which we have to find out the solutions therefore. We have the Juvenile Justice Act, especially for the children who comes in conflict with law and the children who are in need of care and protections. And we have the rights of a person with disabilities. That act has also come in 2016. Though the latter act does not really make any distinction, either with the children or with the persons, because it imbibes within itself and embraces all persons, including the children. But the unique feature which you will find in that act is also that there are certain provisions relating to a children itself in the said act. How to make those acts complementary to each other and to achieve the goal for which those were set up. I have certain issues which I really want to flag for the discussion in today's program. The first thing which I really want to flag before all of you is that we have the acts at place for protection. But the first and foremost thing which I feel is the prevention which we should ensure before we put any person into a bracket of protections. If we can prevent the recurrence or the occurrence of any act or the done or the things which we never support, then in that event, I think we can achieve the goal for which this was done. I had an occasion to go through the initiatives taken by the different countries with regard to the dealing with the children with disability. I find, so far as the United States of America is concerned, a e-monitoring program for the secondary students with the learning disabilities they have established. This program is monitoring the relationship to be established between a high school student with a mild learning disability and a college student, and takes place through a virtual classroom. This is what we are adopting a technology into it, that how best we can do for them. And then we can enhance the skills, such as the skill of solving the problems. We can build the skill of taking decisions. We can also manage the time within which we can done. And then the self-advocacy is also a very important factor, which really comes in the said country. They have established America, the Disability Act of 1990, that's much ahead, which covers both the public and the private healthcare facilities for these disabled or especially able persons. And they have thought of that it is not the only duty of the sovereign or the government to take care of that. They have made an inclusive way of tackling the situations where the public and private healthcare are integrated with each other, and then to work in tandem. This is what they are doing it for, enhancing the living standards, providing the best healthcare. Along with that, they are also providing the safety, the security, and the hygiene to be maintained in every institutions. If we go in Asia, from that continent, the Japan has also taken up the initiatives in the form of a Disabled Persons Fundamental Law of 1993, where they are providing a lifelong, the sustainable protection policy for all those specially abled or the disabled children. And this is what they really wanted to do. So we have to think about it, that what better we can do for that children if they, I would say, on an age-wise becomes an adult, but still they are the child. The best example what I find was the most developed country, that is Finland. They have created a classroom and also included the teachers, providing the more hands-on support for the children who need it while they participate in a group activities. What they say is that they propagate the inclusive theory, that the children with a disability or the especially able children, they should not be segregated as a separate class. They should be integrated with the community, and then they invented a particular device or the programs where this interactions was with the other children's and the specially able children's or the children with the disability, so that if they need any kind of a support from them, that support can be extended to them. And one person is always there during that interaction to monitor that what is really an outcome of this. This is what Finland or the Finnish, they have adopted this. And later on, they give the individual attention and provide the individual support to all those children having a disability. This is what we have to ponder upon and think that how we can do it. I will later on come that our government, or by enacting the act, that was also imbibed. So we have also the provisions in our act. The New Zealand is taking up a very unique way of tackling these children. They have adopted a natural therapy. They put the children in a natural environment. And then they wanted to give them all kind of supports, including the kindergarten life. There are certain research-oriented programs which are based on a learning basis. And then they also provide a protection to vulnerable children from being abused, from being neglected, or from being exploited in any manner. So this is what they have innovated, this idea of this natural base theory. What they do is that they took the children to the forest as well for an excursions, and to just keep them in a natural environment so that they will learn from the nature. So this is how they started doing this, and this has really gained a tremendous amount of a success in that particular the country. We, as a ratifying state in the UN Charter, we owe an obligation to provide a sustainable support, and there must be an act in place, not only relating to the children who have come under the juvenile system, but also the children with a disability whose protections are also provided under Right of Persons with the Disabilities Act of 2016. Ironically, ratification was done in 2005 or 6 of the UN Charter, but the right of a person with a disability could see the light of the day only in 2016, after more than a decade. What we think is that the children with disabilities are at the greater risk and often feel a lack of autonomy, and they experience being patronized by the able-bodied persons, objectified as a voiceless object. We remember that the Apex Court has also taken this particular thing in their account, that the children are the voiceless one, but I think they have a voice through many. And this is a time that we should raise a voice for those children. My suggestions are that there are various sections which provides for an early detection of a disability under Section 47 of the Disabilities Act. This early childhood intervention, if we start, it is really that will empower the young children with the disabilities and their families. We have to include the families along with the children. After all, the children belong to the family and the society. So we cannot exclude the families or the society from their well-being. By combining the effort, expert care, family support, and the community resources, we can create a nurturing environment for an optimal development. An article was also published in the National Library of Medicines, where they said that the early intervention has shown a promise in enhancing the development of the infants at the risk for cerebral palsy. By providing a specialized support in the therapies, these children often demonstrate improved cognitive abilities by preschool stage and better physical skills in the first year. As we know also regarding the autisms, if it is an early diagnosis, I think we can reverse by various mechanisms and various therapies, or this we can bring it into a main society. So there are two things. One is the intervention at a personal level, and the targeted interventions with the specialized programs for the children and the families and the community itself. That is also we should think about. The Lord Justice Mumbai of England is a very, I would say, touching observations which he made in a children's right case of a disagreement of estranged parents over their children's education, where Justice Mumbai quoted, I quote, "Evaluating a child's best interest involves a welfare appraisal in the widest sense, taking into account, where appropriate, a wide range of ethical, social, moral, religious, cultural, emotional, and welfare considerations. Everything that conduces to a children's welfare and happiness or relates to a child's development and present and future life as a human being, including the child's familiar, educations and the social environment, and the child's social, culture, ethnic, and religious community is potentially relevant and has, where appropriate, to be taken into account. The judge must adopt a holistic approach," unquote. So I would just mention few of the sections of the Disability Act. Section 19 of the said Act talks about the vocational training to be imparted to all those children with the disabilities. Recognition at an early stage is also provided in Section 48. The social audit of those children, which in my view is a very important factor, and have been imbibed within the Disabilities Act. And this social audit has to be done. I have seen that the provision says that if at the intervention of 5 years, there would be a monitoring committee who will visit the schools to identify the children's whether they are suffering from any kind of a disability under the Disabilities Act. I think this year, 5 years, is too, I would say, much or large. I think there should be a constant periodical interventions at the school level. And if we can detect the disability at the very primitive stage, I think we can do a lot for those children. I conclude with my own way that we must create a legal framework that safeguards their rights and ensures swift justice for perpetrators. The paradox of our society is stark. Amidst immense wealth and the capability, our inability to safeguard vulnerable children reveals a deeper societal disability. I urge this esteemed the persons who are really into the systems and they are working to treat them with empathy, sympathy, and extend the compassion to all of them. I think this program would yield a very fruitful solutions, and there will be a lot way forward that we expect from this particular symposiums or the state multi-level stakeholders consultations. Thank you, and let us see that what emerged from this consultation program. Thank you. Thanks all.
Thank you, Lordship, for giving us a glimpse of the existing practices of support and protection of children with special needs all throughout the world and your valuable suggestions to enhance our present system. I now request Honorable Mr. Justice Soumen Sen, Judge, High Court at Calcutta and Honorable Member, Juvenile Justice Committee, to present the address. My Lord.
The Honorable the Chief Justice, Justice T.S. SIVAGNANAM, my sister and brother judges, the dignitaries on and off the dais, good morning to all of you. This is indeed a watershed in the history of, I would say, the Calcutta High Court Legal Services Committee and the Juvenile Justice Committee to organize such an event, as I always feel that it is lamentable that the child who was given certain rights, they were voiceless until certain statutes have been enacted, and then again the statute was there and we have seen the fate of the Juvenile Justice Act, initially framed, then again reframed, then again there are various lack of infrastructural facilities for which it could not be implemented, that they are now trying to raise their voice. But unfortunately for the children with disabilities or differently able, who will speak for them? They cannot communicate. The children, to me, they are like petals. You require to nourish them properly. You require to take care of them properly. They should have the facilities. They should grow like any other child. There should not be any discrimination between a child with normal behavior and the child with disabilities. A child cannot choose his parents. He is brought to this world. There may be various reasons for a child to be disabled, but they are to be treated equally. In fact, Article 7 of the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities 2006 has stated that state is required to ensure full enjoyment by children with disabilities of all human and fundamental freedoms on an equal basis with other children. Now, will it be confined to the words of the convention or will it be translated into action? I believe personally that this discussion to have kind of a meaningful implementation required, that we should have the proper infrastructure and we are in a position to implement and translate this discussion into action. We have seen that there are statutes, the statutes are not being implemented because we don't have either the infrastructure, the manpower, the resources. This disability was there, would be there in future, but until 2016, no one felt, in spite of the India being a signatory to the convention in 2006, that they require a protection. And now in the Act in 2016, we have provided, as Justice Tandon has elaborately stated, the provisions where we are required duty-bound statutorily and also constitutionally to look after the interest of these children. The welfare and well-being of the children suffering from disabilities is the subject matter of today's discussion. As Justice Tandon has rightly said, and the statute also provides, that we have to identify, detect the disability. Now, some disabilities are not clinically immediately detectable. You can't identify it. One of it is autism. Some are possibly yes. Now, which can be clinically easily identifiable if they are not addressed immediately, then it becomes irreversible. So early detection is most important, whether we are equipped to detect those children at the earliest stage, so that they can come back to the society, they can form part of the society, they can behave like a normal child. There are some children, there are certain kind of disabilities which are irreversible maybe, but still there are means and ways to give comfort to such children. So as I said, that early detection, whether we have the mechanism for this early detection, is very important. We should have an empirical data, as the statistics might provide, classifying the kind of disabilities of the children and what kind of treatment or measures require to be taken for their well-being. In fact, I would say that it is a duty of the state to ensure that we have adequate infrastructure to address these issues. The child could be a child in need of care and protection, mostly they are. And it could be she could be a victim, the child could be a victim under the POCSO Act. Now, how to communicate with this kind of children? We should have the mechanism to find out. There may be special educator to communicate with the child. So it has to be at all level. The level where the ground when the child is rescued, at the stage when the child is rescued, and continuously throughout when the trial takes place. So it may require that every stakeholder, wherever he is placed and whatever situation is there, is in a position with the training that may be imparted on the such person, including the judges who will be ultimately, say, trying the case. So they all should have this expertise to deal with such cases, and maybe a special training session is required for that. It is important that every stakeholder, including the police coming in contact with the victim, possesses the required specialization and expertise to communicate with the child. In fact, the JGB should also be equipped with the mechanism to deal with such cases, and for that purpose, a special training may be required for the principal magistrate and the judges presiding over the special courts under the POCSO Act. Similarly, CWC is in selecting a registered institution for placement of a child in need of care and protection is required to find out if such institution has required infrastructure to take full care of such children. In fact, it is a duty and responsibility of the appropriate government under the 2016 Act to ensure effective implementation of the Convention of 2006. It is to be ensured that all educational institutions funded by the appropriate government provide inclusive education to the children with disability, and no compromise is made in respect to the quality of education, and the adequate funds should be allocated for that purpose. In fact, a national fund and its manner of utilization is provided under the Act. The children with special needs are also entitled to recreational activities, including sport. So we have to take care of these facts. The child requires a caregiver along with high intensive support and inclusive education, so that on attaining majority, the child can fully and effectively participate in the society and enjoy equality of opportunity. I will not proceed any further, because all these points have been covered adequately by the Honorable the Chief Justice and Justice Tandon. Only I would say that, before I end, that let us all pledge to work together to ensure safety, comfort, happiness, and the well-being of the children with disabilities. Thank you so much.
I thank Lordship for your enriching and valuable words with regard to the rights of the children with special needs. I would now request the Principal Secretary, Department of Women and Child Development and Social Welfare Department, Government of West Bengal, Shrimati Shanghumitra Ghosh, to address the august audience.
The Honorable Chief Justice of the Kolkata High Court and Patron-in-Chief of the Juvenile Justice Committee, the other esteemed members and Honorable Justices of the Juvenile Justice Committee who constantly handhold us through this subject of children in the juvenile justice system, the other Honorable Justices of the High Court, everyone who has come from the districts today, my colleagues from the other departments, UNICEF, the Chief Field Office, Dr. Hossain is here, and our esteemed partners, the non-government organizations, who play such an important role in this entire ecosystem of disabilities. The Women and Child Development Department and Social Welfare Department is the nodal department for disabilities in the state. And we also, because this is a department which looks after women and child development. It also looks after disabilities. So as the Honorable Justices were flagging earlier, there are two definite legislations, the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016 and the Juvenile Justice Act, which has gone through several amendments. These two acts, how do they speak to each other and how do we synergize them? This is a discussion that should have happened long ago, and even if it is the first one at this level, I certainly hope that it is not the last, because we need to keep this dialogue going. That is what we feel is a critical lack here, that persons with disabilities, and amongst them a smaller subgroup, children with disabilities, are just not important enough to feature in our daily consciousness, in our daily thoughts. That is the challenge that we face. In our department, as the Honorable Justices know, we run childcare institutions. Our department supports with the union government through funds about 120 such childcare institutions. About 1/5 of these, about 26, 27, are dedicated to children with special needs. These are special homes where only children with special needs stay. That is the situation here. Does it mean that the other childcare institutions are not ready to receive children with special needs? No, they are ready. In these childcare institutions, we have about 1,500 such children, CNCP children, children in need of care and protection, who are residing with us at the moment. The numbers, of course, are very dynamic. I will just try to flag some of the things that, as a system, as part of the programs that we run, that we have been able to provision for children with special needs. Mission Vatsalya is the overarching government program which looks after children in the juvenile justice system, children in need of care and protection, and children in conflict with law. And here, when we are talking about children with special needs, we don't really see too many of them coming before the juvenile justice boards, but we do see a whole lot of them coming before our child welfare committees and being committed to the care of our CCIs. And the CCIs, the childcare institutions, do receive some special additional inputs of funds to take care of the children with special needs. We have special dietary provisions for them. We have provisions to provide for their equipment that they need to use, for the special educators who need to support them through the various kinds of therapies that they need. We have also tried to ready ourselves, because this is a work in progress. We cannot really say that, yes, we've done everything that we need to do and, yeah, you know, that's the end of the road. No, of course not. And we try to, you know, constantly keep pace with technology. A lot of technology is coming in to help persons with disabilities lead a fuller life, and we try to harness as much of it as we can to make our childcare institutions more friendly to children with special needs. We have, in fact, done an audit with organization which did the audit is here with us today. To see how well equipped our childcare institutions are to children with special needs. I mean, how much more better can we make them? For example, are the washrooms equipped for wheelchairs to go in? Do they have handrails? Do we have ramps? I mean, are the doors usable for children with special needs, etc., etc. So what we did come up, it's not rocket science and it's not something which really surprised us or we didn't know, but it helps to have it there in concrete terms. We have seen we have been able to assess the infrastructural shortcomings in our childcare institutions. We have been able to assess the training needs of the caregivers, what kind of sensitivities they need to cultivate, what are the kind of skills that they need to have to address the requirements of the children with special needs. What are the challenges that we face? The challenges are so many. The first and foremost is that, as I said, it is not prioritized. It's not a subject which is prioritized by any of us here, most of all by government. Government needs to do this all the time. And we have seen how the departments of social welfare or the Ministry of Social Justice are not really on the top of the agenda, in government discussions. And the programs that they run are not always the best funded programs. A small example, the National Trust Act, which provides for, several critical programs for people with intellectual disabilities. The National Trust, which is a body, that has not received, very good support, and it has not been able to expand its activities. Right at the moment, for example, we have a very good program. The programs run by National Trust are very good, but they have not been able to extend the reach of the programs. They do run a homestay program called Gharonda for persons with intellectual disabilities. And I mean, it's been the longest time ever that we have not been able to give in applications for increasing the number of Gharonda homes here, which we so badly need. There are NGO partners waiting to take up the scheme, but the government can't fund it at the moment. So that's just an example. When we run our childcare institutions, we see that the children with special needs who come to us are mostly abandoned, surrendered children. There are no takers for them in the adoptive pool. We also run adoption systems, and very sadly, we see that Indian parents are not really opting to take home children with special needs. It's not that they are not to be vilified, they are not to be blamed. It is the Indian ecosystem is not yet, equipped to address the needs of the children at par with everyone else. We see mostly children with special needs being given up for adoption to foreign parents. So that is a reality. What can we do to change that reality? We see that children who are coming to our childcare institutions continue to stay with us beyond the biological age of 18 years. 18 বছর পর্যন্ত আমরা CCI এ রাখতে পারি। তারপরে CCI এ রাখার কথা নয়। কিন্তু তারপরে আমরা তাদের কোথায় পাঠাবো? They are technically adults, physically speaking, but mentally a lot of them have not reached adulthood, will never reach adulthood. How do we continue to take care of them? How do we mix, people who are more than 18 years old with other smaller children in the homes? We don't have enough specialized homes to take care of children with special needs who graduate into adults with special needs. So rehabilitation is another huge challenge. Rehabilitation it's a very graded word, it's a spectrum. Oneker jonno rehabilitation is simply being able to take, daily steps. Oneker jonno rehabilitation is even gaining access to meaningful employment and earning, a sustainable livelihood. So ei ekta puro spectrum ache. Ebong ekhane the government in several departments, need to come together. This is the kind of, coordination that we need to achieve. We have the health department and the mass education department here with us. আমাদের রিহ্যাবিলিটেশনে একটা তো just enough opportunities. We are appealing to even the private sector. They just take on people with persons with disabilities in employment. In our department, we do arrange for job fairs. The private sector still looks upon offering employment to persons with disabilities as a favor that they are doing them. যে ঠিক আছে আমরা charity করছি. No, it is not a charity. We have to remove this thing from our heads that disability, the otherness of disability, it is something that happens to others. It doesn't happen to us. I keep saying that I could be falling off these steps while walking down and I would be a person with some kind of a disability for the next 2 months of my life. Eta ki keu bhebe dekheche, or maybe permanently disabled. So we need to normalize what is disability. I mean, it's a special need. So the semantics matter here in order to change the kind of thought processes that we have. So rehabilitation e ekta jehetu amra social welfare e kaj kori, we have seen the kind of stigma that is attached with disability and which prevents parents of children with special needs to come out and seek help. In fact, we run 2 homes called Prottoy in Kolkata and in Baharampur, where people who have been cured of mental illnesses but have not yet been able to go back to their families, they come and stay here. Hospital bole diyeche, yes, this person has been cured of mental illness. These are not, of course, persons with disabilities. They are mentally ill people who have been cured. Jara eshe amader homes e thakchen. Why? Because the families are not ready to take them back. Na, eder amra handle korte parbo na. We don't want them. It is a bad name to the family. So they stay with us and then finally they are eased into society. This is only a small thing that we in government are doing. NGO partners are doing a lot here. And we need many more NGOs to come forward to help us in this. We need to expand our own capacities in doing this kind of work. Because if we are not being inclusive, we are not involving them in the country's development process, we are not harnessing everyone's capabilities, we are losing out in a very, very big way. রিহ্যাবিলিটেশনের যে প্রসেসেসগুলো আছে তাতে আমাদের এখন যে পার্টনার ডিপার্টমেন্টস আছেন, এনজিওরা আছেন, তাদের আরও অনেক বেশি কোঅর্ডিনেটেড ওয়েতে কাজ করতে হবে। দ্য গুড থিং ইজ দ্যাট in India we have a lot of structures in place already. We have the legislations in place. We have the Juvenile Justice Act in place. We have the RPWD Act in place. We have juvenile justice committees in every state. We have child protection committees in our own state, right at the grassroots level. We have the CWCs, JJBs. We have the frontline workers, who do such a wonderful job in monitoring children who are born and mothers who are about to give birth. এই সবগুলো আছে. We now need to move to the next level and see how well these structures are functioning and how best to এদের efficiency আরো আমাদের অনেক বেশি বাড়াতে হবে. And today the focus is on children in the juvenile justice system, which is really a small part. But since we work in government, we are in the department who handle children. We know that everything starts from the community. Institutionalization is just a tiny portion of the entire process. Community, the family, which is the smallest unit of the community, if that is not strengthened, if that is not empowered to take care of its own children, তাহলে কিন্তু আমরা institutionalize করে এই জিনিসটা আমরা solve করতে পারবো না. So, the family itself, how do you support them? How do you counsel mothers, fathers who don't want to even acknowledge that my child has maybe autistic, that my child has a kind of intellectual disability? Mantei চায় না. Prothom is to accept that yes, the child has some kind of a difficulty and let us bring it to the medical system where it can receive expert care and where we can overcome it. এই জিনিসটা তাদের মানানো, that is a challenge. There is within the Juvenile Justice Act the provision for sponsorship, where we do support with money, families who need this kind of support. But money is not the only thing. Sometimes money really can't buy, quality care and the specific kind of support that these children need. As I said, we do have child protection committees. We have a wonderful team of frontline workers. The numbers are huge. Amader department, we have 1,20,000 Anganwadi workers who are working with children, small children, from 6 months to 6 years. Ekdom formative stage. We have the health department with its entire, bahini of Ashas, 60,000 Ashas, 20,000 ANMs. So what does it make? We have 2 lakh frontline workers, women, who are working at the grassroots level. How are we using them? We want that these workers are able, structures, as I said, the systems are there. A team kintu prottek, once a child is born, every 7th day, 14th day, 21st day, 42nd day, they are supposed to be visiting the homes and seeing the early childhood development of these kids who are born. কতটা ভালো করে তারা দেখছে, how well equipped are they? Because as we know that any disability, early intervention is the key. Now, detection is not the only thing. Detection er poreo intervention korar moto amader capacity ache ki? We need district early intervention centers. At the moment, we have these early intervention centers only at the district hospital level. That's once again a work in progress. Tader aro onek beshi সমৃদ্ধ korte hobe. So all these things are needed. What is most needed is the willingness, the attitude that we are all part of the same world. We need to contribute to it in the same equal way. Equality is not sameness. Equality is, to the best of our ability in our very different ways. And to harness that and to take, everyone forward. আমাদের এখানে আমরা দেখছি যে, and it doesn't really take a lot of money. আমরা গভর্নমেন্টে ভাবি তো যে আমাকে সোশ্যাল ওয়েলফেয়ারে দিতে গেলে আমাকে ওখানে কাট করতে হবে। তো we keep saying in social welfare, I mean, what does it take to make your pavements in the cities, more wheelchair friendly? I mean, does it take a lot more money? And investment in social welfare and investment in roads, infrastructure, what are the spin-offs? I mean, what kind of calculations have we done that if we invest in health, education, and social welfare, social security systems, tar je positive spin-offs ta ache, shetar amra quantifiable মানে করতে পারি না বলে আমরা কি বেশি রাস্তাঘাট, ব্রিজ এটসেট্রা সব বেশিতে খরচা করছি এবং ওখান থেকে একটা টাকা সরিয়ে সোশ্যাল ওয়েলফেয়ারে দিতে গেলে আমাদের সবার খারাপ লাগছে। ইজ দ্যাট ইট? নো। সো আই মিন দি অ্যাটিটিউডস নিড টু চেঞ্জ. The discussion needs to go on. We can't allow this to fall off the radar. So I'm sure, we need to carry this dialogue forward, and it is our responsibility to see that there is no silence in the field of disability, and especially for children with disabilities. Thank you so much. We are looking forward to a fruitful discussion today and forever. Thank you.
And their rehabilitation and restoration, and also the way forward. I would now request Mr. Monjur Hussain, Chief UNICEF West Bengal Office, to deliver the address.
Honorable guests on the dais and learned participants, let me recognize the presence of Honorable Chief Justice, Calcutta High Court, and Honorable Patron-in-Chief for Juvenile Justice Committee, Calcutta High Court, Mr. T.S. SIVAGNANAM, Honorable Justice Mr. Harish Tandon and Honorable Justice Mr. Soumen, Honorable Judges, High Court at Calcutta, and Honorable Member of the Juvenile Justice Committee, other Honorable Judges of the High Court at Calcutta present today, Ms. Sangamitra Ghosh, Principal Secretary, Department of Women and Child Development and Social Welfare, Chairperson and Advisor from West Bengal Commission for Protection of Child Rights, Secretary, Department of Women and Child Development, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Director, West Bengal Judicial Academy, senior government officials from all government departments, judicial officers of West Bengal and Andamans and Nicobar Island, academic institutions, and other non-government organizations and stakeholders. A very good morning. I'm actually new here, just arrived a month ago, so I'm still trying to understand the different dimensions and aspects of the program. And I'm really pleased and amazed to see the commitment of the West Bengal government in institutionalizing and capitalizing different institutions to promote the right of the children. We all understand that children with differently able, or sometimes we call disabilities, it's completely a new public spheres, educations and actions. I think many of our learned guests has mentioned that. I've been just coming from Africa after 10 years being there in that continent, and my 1 month of exposure here, as we've been actually looking forward to hear from India and India's civilizations and educations and advancement. But the issue central to our core mandate at the United Nations agencies, I see that there is a reason that why we are here. Because of the equity, because of gender, because of human rights-based approach of the programming. And this is where actually we want to make sure that these are the center, being the principles of programming, to support the host government to promote and protect the rights of the children. And as the UN intergovernmental organizations and the Organization for Children, this is our core mandate. And I'm very pleased to be here this morning to see that this is being discussed today, a very pertinent and important issue that UNICEF is very much interested to support the government. We all understand that, why and what should be the premise of designing a program. And one of the fundamental aspects is the data and the evidence. And I believe that although we do not have recent data for India on disabilities, I think when I look at the data, it's only about the census data that is showing some of the statistics, and still it's appalling data. But then the most recent United Nations report, that actually estimates that almost 1 in every 10 children are suffering from this problem. They are differently able or they are disabled, that means the 240 million children in the world and 65 million children in South Asia. And if 65 million, South is the home of 65 million disabled children, you can imagine how many million are in India alone. So it's an appalling statistics for us to start acting now for children. And I think our learned guest has already mentioned many of the approaches and strategies and interventions to work around that. UNICEF is, as I said, that we work and we support government through an equity-focused and human rights-based approach of programming. And this is in line with the UN Convention of the International Convention on the Rights of the Person with Disability. I think one of the learned colleagues has mentioned about that. Learned judge has mentioned about that. We are actually committed to continue to support. So I'm here just to reiterate UNICEF's continued commitment to support the great work that the West Bengal government and the Commission and the High Court is continuing. I just had a quick chat with our Honorable Chief Justice. I will come and see you, sir, that how best we can collaborate and continue to collaborate to improve the situation of the children of West Bengal. I really wish that today's deliberation is very fruitful and we come up with a very pragmatic feasible and actionable recommendations and deliberations. Thank you all. I wish you all a very good, successful deliberation today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hussain, for your valuable words. We now come to the end of our inaugural program. There will be a tea break now. The arrangement of tea and refreshments for the honorable judges and the dignitaries has been made in the VIP lounge. And for the participants and delegates, tea and refreshments have been arranged outside the conference hall. We will disperse now and we'll come back after half an hour for the technical sessions.